great. We're going to go ahead and get started. Continue to log in. We'll add that game pin in your chat box as well. And you know what? I'll put it up here for you as well. So go to kahoot.it, continue to get logged in, and let's go ahead and get started on today's virtual field trip. Welcome, everyone. All right, let's do it. All right. Welcome, all explorers. You're now watching Learn Around the World's Geo Show. This is the interactive virtual field trip that takes you, that's right, explorers, and your parents and your teachers around the world to learn all about new peoples, new cultures, new histories, and new natural wonders. If this is your first experience with us here at Learn Around the World, being hosted by Connected North, welcome. My name is Brandon, and I am going to be your guide on today's virtual field trips. Part of my job is I travel all around this big blue ball we're all living on, and I visit new places. And that's the key, new places. And we focus on places here at the Geo Show at Learn Around the World. And it's our hope that we can somehow make you a little bit more curious, a little bit more inquisitive, meaning asking questions about the world that we live on. There's so much to learn, too much to get done in one lifetime, but we're going to try. So hopefully you can discover some new places like the place that we're going to visit today and continue exploring after today's virtual field trip. We can't cover every single thing there is to know about Indonesia, about the macaque long-tail monkey, which is the monkey that we're going to see today, but we're going to try to get you curious to continue the learning today. All right, so today's title of our program is the Sacred Monkey Forest, located in Ubud, Bali. And today's show is brought to you by LearnAroundTheWorld.com, bringing you guest speakers and virtual field trips from all around the world. We're kicking off today's show with our first question on Kahoots. All right, explorers, we are a geography-based program. That means location matters, and we always start off with a location question. Now, we've already given it away, so we'll see how well you've been paying attention already. We're going to Bali today, but what country is Bali in? You may have heard of Bali before. Is Bali located in red Indonesia, blue Australia, yellow the Philippines, or green India? What say you, explorers? You have 9 seconds to answer. All right, so it is located in Indonesia. Great job, everyone, saying red out there. If you didn't know, that's okay. We're about to talk about where Indonesia is located. As we just mentioned, we always begin talking about locations. So when we talk about locations, guess what, explorers? It matters. You know what else matters? Getting logged into Kahoot. There's that game pin for you. We like to say that location matters here on the Geo Show. We're a geography-based program. That means, right, we're introducing you to a new place today. And not only is the place that you're going to important when you travel around the world as a good global citizen, but it's also important to know where you're coming from. That's because just like we take a bag filled with clothes and our toothbrush and our cell phones today in 2020 around the world with us, well, we always are bringing around our own culture too. So that means the way that you see the world is going to be a little bit different than the way that I see and experience the world. And the way that I see and experience the world is going to be different than someone else may see and experience the world. What you may see something and say, hey, that looks familiar to my home, that may look very different to me or very unfamiliar to me, and vice versa. So always ask yourself these questions. Is what I'm seeing, is this similar, or am I familiar with what I'm seeing? Am I not familiar with what I'm seeing? And does my culture, is that going to be a reason why it seems familiar or unfamiliar? All right, so we do like to acknowledge here on the Geo Show, before we get started today, we are coming to you live from Portland, Maine in the United States. We are on native land of the Wabanaki people, or people of the dawn. We like to acknowledge that before we get started. And we are going to Bali today, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, explorers, we're going to leave the northern hemisphere of North America today and travel over to Indonesia. A couple things about Indonesia when we start talking about this wonderful nation is that it is an island nation. So what does that mean, explorers? Well, if you've been on one of our past shows, maybe you joined us on a Komodo dragon show once upon a time, and you may already know this, but Indonesia is made up of about 17,000 islands. Now, most of these islands are very small with no one living on them, but some of these islands are very big, like Borneo, like Sumatra, where the orangutans live. So there's lots of other fascinating animals in Indonesia, not just the Longtail macaque monkeys, not just the Komodo dragons, but we also get the orangutans. The only place to find them on Earth is Indonesia. Really cool. So lots of things to discover here. Lots of people living here. They're the fourth largest country in the world, and they're the largest Islamic country in the world. Not a lot of people realize that. Some people think that's up in the Middle East, but no, it's right here in Indonesia. Also, over 700 languages are spoken in Indonesia. That's a lot. So there's a lot of people in a lot of different languages being spoken here in Indonesia. All right, so today, explorers, we are headed to Bali. So Bali is this island that I've highlighted in orange, but Bali is located right beside Java, this blue island. And Java is the center of Indonesia, the political center. So the capital city is in Java. It's the most populated island. But today we're going to be focusing on Bali, specifically Ubud Bali is where we are headed to the sacred monkey forest today, explorers. So when we talk about Bali and Ubud Bali, Bali has about 4.2 million people living on this small island, and about 84%, even though Indonesia is the largest Islamic country in the world, in Bali, it is primarily a Hindu. About 84% of the people are Balinese Hindu, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. But we are visiting the monkey forest of Ubud today, and we are going to be learning all about the long-tailed macaque monkey, long-tail macaque monkey. A couple of things about Ubud Park and the monkey forest today is that when you visit here, it's open daily, and it's open during daylight hours, and you wouldn't want to come here at nighttime anyway. We'll talk about this, but the monkeys are diurnal. So what does that mean? It's the opposite of nocturnal. Let me know right now a couple of things about today's show. You can put in where you're watching from today, so I can give you a shout out, and send in your questions throughout the show as well. All right, so you need that code? Boom, there you have it. So it's open during the daytime because our long-tailed macaque monkey is a diurnal animal, meaning they're active in the daytime, not the nighttime. There are about 115 different species of trees found throughout the forest, and it's about 12.5 hectares big, meaning that's about 23 soccer pitches, if you like soccer or football, whichever you prefer calling it. And when we talk about how many monkeys are located here in the forest, this has actually increased over the years. When I visited here last, there were about 700 monkeys. Today, there are around 900 monkeys, and they live in about 7 groups. So there are 7 groups of monkeys, so around 100 plus monkeys per group. Now, some of these groups fight each other for territory. Some of these groups just stay out of each other's way as well. All right, a couple of rules we have before we enter the park, explorers. So there's no human food allowed. So don't bring any snacks or candy or chocolate to give to the monkeys today. Don't pull any food away. You can buy food here that is okay for the monkeys, but don't pull the food away if they want it. Let them take it. Don't play with the monkeys. So don't hit them or try to pull on their tails, even though they have this long tail or anything like that. No paper or plastic bags. We'll talk about why that is when we go into the park. And no plastic water bottles. So you don't want those either. So we'll talk about all of those things and those rules as they apply when we walk throughout the park. All right, explorers, so there we have it. Today we are going to jump right in it and go around and look and introduce you to the Ubud Sacred Monkey Forest and the monkeys that reside here in this forest. Then we'll talk about why it's important and why is this place a sacred place when we talk about the religion here in Ubud, Bali. All right, explorers, again, let me know where you're watching from today. We're going to go ahead and get started about learning about the monkeys, and then we can start giving some shout outs as we go, as Sigrid's with us from Millennial Falls, if I'm saying that right, Ontario, and St. Catharines, Ontario. Awesome. But before we start seeing the monkeys, I have a question about those monkeys, by the way, over on Kahoot. Make sure you're logged in and you are entering that game pin 279-554, 279-554. So our question here today, explorers, before we start looking at these monkeys, are apes like gorillas, chimpanzees, those orangutans that also live in Indonesia, are they monkeys? Are apes monkeys? Let me know if you think you know the answer over on Kahoot. Let's do it, explorers. Are apes monkeys? Red, yes, blue, no, or yellow, I don't know. All right, looks like we are split 50-50 on this one. So we're getting a little bit quicker. So we're going to start speeding things up a little bit. So we're down to 10 seconds per question. So if you're having a little bit of trouble getting those answers in, I'm going to try to read those questions as I just did beforehand, and we're practicing for that quiz. Once we get to the quiz, the questions are going to come fast, back to back. So let's practice deciding and choosing quickly. So here we go, explorers. Well, those monkeys are not apes. Okay, monkeys are not apes. Apes are not monkeys. Two completely different families of animals. You know who is closely related to those chimpanzees, orangutans? You are, as well as I am. We are the humans are a species in the great ape family. So just like the gorillas, orangutans, chimpanzees, bonobos, humans, and also, I believe, gibbons, maybe off the top of my head. I'll figure that out in a second when it comes to me. But they are all part of the great ape family. So there's a common ancestor about 5 million years ago. But they are not monkeys, They are primates. So we have to go way, way, way back into the family tree to get a common ancestor of apes and monkeys. All right, so let's do it, explorers. When we look at the long-tailed macaque monkey, which is the monkey that we are learning about today, the long-tailed macaque monkey has the largest range of any monkey in the world, meaning you find them in more areas around the world. So almost the entirety of Southeast Asia, up into places like the Philippines, all throughout Indonesia, into China, India. So a big, big, big footprint of this planet is where the long-tailed monkey resides. Now, a couple of things about this long-tailed macaque monkey. They are notorious for living right on the edges of forests. So they live, and they're not afraid of people. They live amongst people, and they are often interacting with people. So when you travel around this part of the world, you'll run into this monkey a lot when you visit famous sites around Southeast Asia. And when you do that, you have to be careful. They are a wild animal, remember that. And some places, because there's a big, big area that they live in, some humans view them differently. Some people view this animal, this monkey, as a pest. They do not like them around. They shoo them out, if not trap them or kill them, if they are getting into their gardens and their farms. And then some places they're protected, like here in Ubud, Bali. Again, you may have probably figured that out. If this is a sacred monkey forest, then these monkeys are sacred. They are being protected, and they can walk around without fear of being harmed here. And so that is our long-tailed macaque monkey. Let's go see him.
Bali. It's a small forest.
All right, so this forest that we are looking at is a sacred monkey forest. So that means there are sacred sites. There are 3 temples throughout the forest, and we'll see some of them today. So there is a temple that is built for Lord Shiva, which is one of the Hindu gods. There's a cremation temple for Lord Brahma, which is one of the 3 primary gods in Hinduism. And there's also a temple for the goddess Ganges, or holy water. And that has to do with the sacred, or the old religion found here in Ubud, Bali. More on that in just a few minutes. But as soon as you enter into the forest, you'll see monkeys right away. If you notice ticket on the left, well, this is where you buy your tickets, and it's also recommended that you go ahead and leave your bags. I was carrying, as you can see, around a lot of camera equipment throughout the forest. So I did take my bag in. If you choose to come here and take a bag into the forest, it is recommended that it is a sturdy bag with zippers on it and sturdy straps. Remember, no plastic bags. The monkeys will grab your bag, and if they hang on it, they will rip it open. So if you have a plastic bag carrying valuables in there, they will fall out everywhere. If your phone, glasses, keys, they'll take it and run into the forest. So you don't want to do that. Also, anything in your pockets, they will put their hands in your pockets and take things as well. So you do have to be cautious of that. As you can see, people come here, and this is an active sacred forest. So people come here and they pray and worship at these temples. The monkeys, again, are protected here. Today, there's over 900 monkeys throughout the forest. And if you can't bring food into the forest, well, what do you feed them? Well, this is a stereotype that is definitely true. Monkeys love bananas, and you can buy bananas here at the banana stand. There's always money in that banana stand. And when you buy those bananas, it's recommended that if the monkey wants the banana, give them the banana, right? So don't try to hold it and ration it out and break a piece off, because if you do that, the monkey will get upset. And as you will see, they will act out, kind of like some humans do sometimes when they're not happy. Let's look at an example. So they will just come and run and jump on you. And what are they after? They want those bananas. So once he gets the banana, he's going to go and take that banana and walk away. So if you're walking around with food and you don't want bananas just jumping on you, maybe don't walk around with food here at the Sacred Monkey Forest. They're so used to people, and they're so used to getting food from people here at the Sacred Monkey Forest that they want that food as they are walking around. All right, so looks like we have lots of folks joining us as well. So looking here, do we have I'm glad you got the Arrested Development reference. So yes, thank you. I think you're the first person to ever point that out. So as we go around, and someone's saying their mom visited here as well, Kerrigan. Awesome. That's amazing. So maybe you get some more insider stories as well. So when we go around here and start looking at these monkeys, one of the things you'll notice that I mentioned earlier, remember how I said you don't want to pull things and take things away from the monkeys? Okay, so these monkeys, people get bit here every single day. And there's something to keep in mind when we talk about wild animals explorers. So whenever you're exploring around the world, in fact, whenever you're exploring around your home as well, right? You want to be cautious. You want to keep your distance. We want to go out there and enjoy nature, enjoy wildlife, but they are wild animals. And especially when we talk about mammals, right? Mammals can carry rabies. So it's very important. Now, through my research, I've not found one case of anyone ever getting rabies at the Ubud Sacred Monkey Forest. But long-tail macaque monkeys across Southeast Asia have sometimes found to have rabies, so it is possible. So you always want to keep that in mind, and especially when you go to other places. Just because rabies may not be here right now, it may be at another location, and you don't want to look at this monkey and say, okay, well, it doesn't have rabies here and it's never going to. It's just something to be conscious of. So if possible, you don't want to get bit or scratched, and one way you don't get bit or scratched is trying to take food from them or play with them when they don't want to be played with. So that's one thing that you'll notice from our monkeys as we walk around. Also, remember I told you about these bags. So as we can see, this monkey jumping on this young lady, and you can see the monkey grabbing on this leather bag. Now, that's okay with a sturdy leather bag, but if that were a plastic bag, that bag would have spilt out and went everywhere. Notice the zippers there too. Now, monkeys have opposable thumbs just like their primate cousins. That's us. And so with those opposable thumbs, they can grab things. They will take sunglasses. They'll take keys. They'll run away. But what they're really after is food. They want that food. But they do and will get into your things. So make sure you are being careful as you go through the park. Speaking of those opposable thumbs, holding on to their children so they don't run away. That's a good use for those opposable thumbs. Speaking of those babies that we see here, again, they are mammals. That means mammals, we call mammals, the reason we call mammals mammals is because mammals nurse their young. That's the defining characteristic of a mammal. So when we talk about some of these mammals, explorers, and having young or having babies, typically they only have one baby at a time, and they're typically pregnant for 5 to 6 months. And it is, it's not common. It's possible to have twins, but it's not common, I should say. So it's not a stretch. So it is possible that the moms can have twins, but usually they don't. And they're pregnant for about 5 to 6 months, as I just said. And the other thing you'll notice when we start to see the baby monkeys going forward as well, they're a darker color. So they typically have a very dark gray to black color. And the older they get, they will turn more of a brownish and light brown color. So that's one difference you'll notice between the young long-tail macaque monkeys and the older long-tail macaque monkeys. Now, this is one of the people that works at the Sacred Monkey Forest, and I asked him a few questions. I got a chance to sit down with him about the long-tail macaque monkey, and we'll let him tell you a couple of things about them.
Monkey?
The
species.
macaque.
How many monkeys in the sanctuary?
About 600 monkeys.
Like, what do you feed them?
Every day, sweet potato.
So if you notice they're eating these sweet potatoes, also notice that he said there's 600 monkeys. Now, it's been a few years since I've been here. This number has increased over to 900 monkeys. So when we look at them, why are they increasing at such a high rate? Well, they're protected for one. They get all the food that they can eat. So they just dump out loads of sweet potatoes. And this is the main source of their diet here in the park. The bananas they keep for tourists like you and I when we visit here. You can buy a banana and give them, and they like that sweet banana. And so that's one way to get them to come and see you is by having that sweet banana. But primarily they are eating sweet potatoes here. That's the main food that they give them inside of the park. But in the wild, their diet is a little bit different. In the wild, their diet, they're going to be eating vegetation, but they're going to be eating those fruits that come off from the forest, from the trees in the forest. They're also omnivores, so they will eat crabs, for example, when they live by the ocean. So they have a big range. So it depends if they're living in a forest somewhere inland or if they're living by the sea. If they live by the sea, they will feed off of squid, crab, as I said, other sea life that they can get their hands on. So they will use that as a source of meals to eat as well. One of the fun things I love about them is if you look at them while they eat and their cheeks get big and fat, one of the things they do is they will stuff food into their cheeks and they will leave it there for a while. So they can eat a lot of food and then go run up into the trees and finish eating while stuffing their cheeks. You're really full, kind of like a chipmunk if you ever seen one eat. This was I was kind of nervous right here, explorers. They'll jump on your back, and again, you've seen them already. They'll slap you. They'll show their teeth. It's not a little nick of a bite if they bite you. They got some long little teeth there, so it will hurt. So it's kind of a little unnerving when they're sitting right behind your head like this one is here. But when we go around and walk around the forest, not only those bananas that they love eating here at the forest, but we can go around and walk around the forest. So primarily what we've seen so far, explorers, is we've seen that these monkeys, there's a lot of people coming to see them at the entrance to the park, as you see them getting upset right there. And so he does carry around some food so he can get them to come closer to meet people when they want to get closer to them and see the monkeys. But the forest is pretty big. Like we said, it's about the size of 30 soccer fields or 30 fields that we go around, 30 soccer fields or football fields, however you want to call that game. So you can see why they're called the long-tail macaque monkey. It's this big long tail that we have here. And they use that tail for several things. One is for balance. That's the primary reason they use that tail. And so you can do this at home. So maybe later today, if you have one straight line at home, maybe outside, if you live in a place that you have access to a yard or something, and so you could take a piece of tape or just imaginary straight line, but try walking on one straight line. And you know how when you balance yourself, when you walk on a straight line, you put your arms out like that? This is pretty much what they're doing with their tail, but they only have one of those. So if you want to do it like the long-tail macaque monkey today, only use one arm, but then when you walk on that straight line, try to go back and forth and use that one arm to balance yourself. And that's how they use these long tails, which I'll show you a great example of them using that long tail for that in just a minute. Speaking of long tails, you can see it there. So many primates, not just long-tail macaque monkeys, are very social animals. So you can see that they'll groom one another. That's part of their socialization that they have with one another in their groups. And also you can see that little bit lighter color of them versus some of the younger ones. This one is already starting to change, but you can see on its head still some of those really dark colors of the hair. And a couple of things about the monkeys here at the park. There are some places where there's water holes, and these are great places to catch them swimming. And I'll show you swimming there in just a second. But one of the management's techniques for the park, for the people managing the park, is this little device. So it's kind of hard to see. Maybe we can see it right here. Maybe I'll help you out right here. But it's something that looks kind of like this. And there is kind of a long, stretchy piece that goes to it. And we can take this long, stretchy piece, we can pull it back like this really far and let it go, and something happens. Anyone know what this is? Does anyone know what this is? Let's see. Okay, someone's Horn, your cat carrying in Alberta. Well, welcome. Slingshot, and got it. Awesome. So, right, it's a slingshot. So why are they using slingshots here? Now, if you notice, this is a very small slingshot. Let me get my drawing out of your way. You notice this little bit, it's more like a toy slingshot. This is not going to kill a monkey. What it is this is designed just to give them a little sting. And the reason they have this is because, remember, I said I've seen them jump on people's shoulders. They'll steal the glasses off of your face if you have sunglasses on your head, and they'll run off into the forest. So when they do this, well, they can try to help you retrieve your items if a monkey has stolen something from you, and they'll try to scare the monkey away. So many times what the monkey would do, if they grab your phone, for example, run up into the forest, you'll see them just sitting there with the phone. So if they can give them a little pop or startle them so they run off and leave the phone, then you can go and retrieve the phone while the monkey is away. But if you let the monkey keep that phone, you're never going to give it back because you're not going to catch that little monkey. So that's what they're doing with these slingshots, by the way. So again, they're not hurting. They're not using those to hurt the monkeys in any way when we look at them right there. So when we go back and look at that slingshots, we'll finish up by walking around and showing you one of the other temples here at the Sacred Monkey Forest as well. All right, so we're going to walk down. There is a center section in the forest, so you kind of have to walk down these steps. You can see lots of people visit here, and we're going to give a quick look at the water goddess temple that is right behind this big old tree. Now, this is a banyan tree, and this is it's estimated it's at least 100 years old as we look up at this tree. Now, these trees are important, so what you'll find is right at dusk, so when it's getting dark, Remember, they're diurnal animals, so you'll see one big group going up into a large tree like this. So the entire tree, almost 100 monkeys, will go into a tree such as this, or multiple trees together. And that's where they'll spend the night. And typically in the wild, they like to hang out in these trees over water. And the reason they do that over water, as we go out by this temple here out of the forest, what they're doing here is they go out and they'll drop into water if there's predators. So they like to swim, and they're good swimmers, and they use that as a way to get away from predators. So as you can see, lots of people use these active temples. Now, we are not allowed to go into the temples unless you are using them for prayer. You can see lots of people entering into the temple in the background. We'll talk a little bit more about what they're carrying in that temple in just 1 minute as we spin around here. Now, look at these monkeys playing. All right, so I love watching the monkeys play in the water, and play is very important. Just like many other mammals, no matter if you're talking about lion cubs, bear cubs, monkey cubs, young monkeys, it doesn't matter. For many mammals, humans, right? Play is very important to the development of animals, because many times, especially when you think about predators like a lion, for example, that play that they do as a young cub is going to prepare them for going out to hunt and catch food as they get older. Now, this is a different example. In this play, we have a monkey, which is more of a prey. And what they use their swimming abilities for much of the time is, again, they will, at nighttime, they'll go in trees in the wild. They like to stay over water. And what this allows them to do, if there is a predator that is coming after them, what they can do is they can drop down into the water and swim away. It's a fast getaway if they are over water. So that is their preferred method of hanging out at nighttime. As you can see, this great shot of this monkey coming out of the water. So they love the water. They're great swimmers. And when we look at these monkeys, a couple of things to think about. One is we can tell if a monkey, a long-tail macaque monkey, I should say, is a boy or girl by looking at their facial hair, just by looking at their facial hair. So before I tell you how, let's see if you can just guess it. What do you think? Is this long-tail macaque monkey, is this a male or a female? Is this a male or a female? You're going to let me know over on Kahoots. All right, if you're not logged in yet, this is our last poll question. So everyone after this question is going to be worth points. So make sure you are logged in. 279-554, 279-554. All right, here we go, explorers. Is this a male or a female? What do you think? All right, so this one is a female. So if you said blue female, high five goes out to you. Now, how can you tell that this is a female when we go back? Well, a couple of things. The females have beards. The males do not have beards. The males have mustaches, and the females don't really have a mustache. So the females have a beard, and the males have a mustache. That's how you can tell the difference between the male and the female, just by looking at their facial hair, which is really cool when you look at them there. Now, I told you I would show you an example of them using their tails. Now, I had to take a quick shot with my phone here, but these are the monkeys coming out of the forest. And the Sacred Monkey Forest is right across the street from businesses. So these are restaurants, these are shops as well. And you're going to see these monkeys that are leaving the forest, and they're coming across the street and into shops, into restaurants. Remember, these monkeys they live on the edge of forest. They're not as scared of people. They typically interact with humans and communities and towns and villages, and that's what you're going to see here. And they are protected here, so they feel a little more emboldened here as well than maybe some other places. But you're going to see a big old group come across. You'll notice that they're going to be climbing in and out as you see them popping over here. So they're going into the structure and they're climbing out onto the rooftops. Now, most of the rooftops here are tin roofs. So when you go into shops, you can actually sometimes hear boom, 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 boom. If you've ever been in a home with a tin roof, you know how you can hear the rain really loud. I missed that when I was younger. We had some tin roof homes, and really, really soothing. But in this case, it's monkeys running around, boom, 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 boom up there. And so you can hear them running around on those tin roofs, and they jump up and down. Now, when we look up in the sky here, this monkey has jumped out onto these power lines. Now, the good thing about this is we get a great shot. It's hard to get video of them up in the trees because of the light and everything, but we have a great shot here of the monkey climbing along in this open area without trees in the background, and we can see how they're using that tail. So remember earlier we talked about balancing with one arm. Look how they use this long tail as he's climbing across these power lines. All right, and they're fantastic jumpers, by the way. They can jump up to 5 meters, so that's over 16 feet at a time. So they're great jumpers. You can see great sliders. Maybe they could work in a fire station, go down the fire pole. All right, now they're all retreating away from these shops. You'll see shop owners, they'll run them out with brooms and things like that to try to get them away from outside of their shop from time to time. All right, let's see. Let's see what are some of their predators, right? So they live in Southeast Asia. So the tiger would be a predator to them, definitely to places where there are still tigers. Now, tigers numbers are on the decline. So in some places they don't have as many as they used to be. Obviously, humans are their predators in places where they are not protected as well. So they do have predators that they have to watch out for. And monkeys, they will fight each other. So one group will attack another group for territory sometimes as well. And so they have to watch out for other monkeys. So there are several things that they need to watch out for in the wild where they are not protected. But squirrels are better jumpers. Probably. Squirrels can also lay out flat and kind of glide as well, which is really cool. And let's see, some people want to know also about pets. Sometimes I get asked that question a lot. You see long-tail macaque monkeys a lot in the pet trade. A lot of it is illegal, the illegal pet trade of long-tail macaque monkeys, other monkeys as well. And so you will find them time to time as pets, but many times it is via illegal pet trade. All right, so we do want to touch a little bit because of today on the religion found in Bali. If you have been on our previous shows about Balinese New Year, for example, some of this may be a little bit of a review for you. And if you haven't, it's a great time to talk about it so you know a little bit more about why the monkeys are protected and why they have these temples inside of the forest and what they're doing here. So when we talk about the religion here in Bali, I want to know from you, what is the official religion in Bali? What is the official religion in Bali? And this is going to be our last poll question. All right, so do you know what is the official religion in Bali? Is it red Hinduism, blue Islam, yellow Buddhism, or green Christianity? What is the official religion in Bali. Okay, so it's Hinduism. About 85% or so of the people in Bali are Hindu, but as I learned in Bali, it's a little bit more complicated than just saying Hinduism. A better term is Balinese Hinduism. So let's learn a little bit about some big vocabulary words here, and we'll briefly talk about a few of them, but we're about to meet someone that's going to talk about some of these, and so I want to introduce some of them to you first. So animism. So animism is the idea that everything has its own soul. So that long-tailed macaque monkey has its own soul. The tree has its own soul. The person has its own soul. The ant has its own soul. Everything has a soul. And this is the old religion in Bali. And then we have a mixture of some more modern religions, primarily Hinduism and Buddhism, that both came out of India. So these are both major world religions that came out of India and spread over to Indonesia. And so Hinduism is a major religion and Buddhism as well. Really the mixture of all of these. So the base religion of animism, remember we showed you the temple of the water goddess. The original religion in Bali was for the water. Water is life. As everyone, people around the world know this, right? Water is life. Or if they don't, they should. And then we have Hinduism and Buddhism are mixing in with that religion that was already there. These all three blend quite nicely together. And today is really defines what the people practice in Bali, which is Balinese Hinduism. So again, out of India, so if you're not, you need to review where India is, located up here. Out of India, Buddhism and Hinduism spread down to Indonesia. And so that's where those two religions came from to mix with the animism-based religion here. And they first came to the island of Java, but when Islam came over, people that were Hindu and Buddhist left Java and came over to Bali and mixed with the local animism culture. And today we have something most scholars that study this call it Balinese Hinduism, because it's very different than the Hinduism that is practiced in India. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to learn from Mr. Oka. Now, Mr. Oka is a Brahmin. He comes from a Brahmin family in Bali. So when we talk about India, the Brahmin, the old caste system from India, the Brahmin caste, these are the priests. These are the religious leaders in the communities. And he comes from a long line of religious leaders of Hindu in his community. And Mr. Oka is going to explain to us a little bit more about the religion in Bali.
Brandon, before you do that, can you turn the volume way up? We can hear you usually in the videos, but not the person speaking.
Okay.
What is a wood carving village, the first, wood carving village in Bali. What we believe in Bali, their first god is their parents. It's about ancestor. You wouldn't be here without your father. Your father wouldn't be here without your grandfather. Your grandfather wouldn't be here without your great-grandfather.
Now, earlier you said a word that I'm sure some people may not know, animism.
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 Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, it's about believing, everything what you see have a soul as a spirit. Even the stone, the tree, there's a spirit in there.
And this was the traditional Balinese.
Oh yeah, in the old days.
faith.
Yeah, in the old days. Yeah.
And so now it's very much the base of
A mixed
Hindu
collaboration with
and-
Buddhist, Hindu and Buddhist, not just
Hindu,
Hindu,
Buddhist,
Buddhism,
and
any
everything.
other, any
Wow.
other religion.
So it's like this
Be-
own thing.
Yeah, because for example, animism is about everything have a living thing, tree, stone, everything is respect of that. But why Hinduism blend very well and Buddhism blend very well in Bali? Because it's so close to that root.
Yeah. Everything
Yeah.
is a one.
Yeah, in the one. Yeah.
Buddhism is very much.
Very much.
And I want to call it Hinduism now
No,
because it's
they-
so
in the
many
old days,
different
during
things.
Dutch colony, before this,
Yeah.
we call it Agama Tirta. The religion is in Bali is about water,
Mhm.
holy water. That's where the first temple in Bali call it Pura Tirta. Tirta means holy water. That's what our first religion is. It's about farming the water.
Yeah.
Because this water is life. It's about water, this religion. But until the independence after the Dutch, many things. And government, we have to choose 5 other major religion they have. And then they say, okay, you are Hindu. And then they say, yeah, we Hindu Balis. Okay, thank you very much. So we based on Hindu Shiva Buddha, Hinduism and Buddhism mixed together.
Wow.
But and then it's easy to relate them. Hinduism is the spirit, and the father. Buddhism is the mother. So put together, very simple and blend together until now. Bali, I live in the biggest Muslim country in the world. Are we what 1% of the population of Indonesia? But why we were blessed by protected by this country also. Politically, and the government want us to be more civilized, have a book, have go thing, dress the same, certain form. But there is no rule in Bali. Nobody have book for religion in Bali.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say this. It's not that.
Yeah.
This is way of life.
Yeah.
It's not just a religion.
And can you tell us, teach us how to say goodbye in Balinese?
Oh, well, suksma. Suksma. And like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Suk means inside. Suksma.
Suksimo.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Suksumo, Mr. Oka. All right, so one thing that as we start to close up here, there's something it's used in Bali a lot, and you may have noticed that he just did this, and it's called pushpa. And pushpa in Bali, when you travel around the world, there's lots of different customs. Some places you go and people shake hands. Some places you go and people bow. Some places you go and you may do something else as you greet someone or tell someone bye. In Indonesia, you do something, especially Bali, you use something called a pushpa. So it's when you put your hands together, kind of in your palms together. It's called pushpa, and it represents the mother and the father. And you put them here, and there's 4 different levels of pushpa, or 4 different positions. So it's down by the chest, it's in front of the face, both eyes open. So this is what you would do as a pushpa. By your chest, with your eyes open, you would say thank you to your friend, for example, or thank you to a stranger that you met. And you would say suksamo like this. If you were saying thank you to your teacher, to your parents, someone you wanted to show more respect to, now you bring your pushpa in front of your face, but you keep your eyes open. So you would say suksamo like that. But if you want to say thank you to maybe your grandfather or your great-grandfather, one of your ancestors that's not here with us in life today, then you would close your eyes. So your eyes are open for living people. Your eyes are closed for your ancestors. So your pushpa now comes in front of your face and your eyes are closed. Suksamo. So that's how you would tell thank you to your ancestors. And then if you were saying thank you to a god, for example, like the water god or one of the other Hindu gods or whatever that is for you personally, then you would hold your hands up. You have a big empty space in between your arms, and your eyes go closed here. So those are the 4 positions of pushpa. So in front of your chest, in front of your eyes with your eyes open, in front of your forehead with your eyes closed, and then high above with your eyes closed. So those are the 4 pushpa positions, and with that, suksamo, everyone. All right, so let's get to it. If we have any last minute questions that we haven't got to, we'll see if we can answer those before we launch our geo quiz. Let's see, is there poo on the floor? Yes, there is. Just like there's gravity. What's up must come down, right? In the trees. And let's see, we did the predators. They should make a mini water slide for the monkeys. They should. That would be great. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Let's see. Do visitors have to walk on the paths or can they go in the water? Usually when you go into places like this, it's recommended that you stay on the path. So there are walkways. When you go around the back of the property, you may have noticed when we were around the back, when we looked at the piles of sweet potatoes, there are dirt paths, and most of the main part of the forest closer to the entrance gates are all paved pathways, by the way. Let's see, if you were there, you would give them a banana and just pet them to go away. That's nice. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you. And I don't see any new questions coming in. And let's get to it. So make sure you are logged in today. That game pan over at kahoot.it. 279-554. 279-554. All right, explorers. All right, let's see how well you were paying attention today. And that snail mail is gearing up and ready to go to today's winner. Who's it going to be? Okay, well, let's find out. First question, explorers, I want to know from you. Make sure you can adjust your windows if you can't see the questions all the way. Our first question is going to be, what country is Bali in? What country is Bali in? That is your first question. Is it in red, the Philippines, blue, Australia, yellow, Indonesia, or green, India? All right, it is yellow, Indonesia. Big old high five to yellow. All right, so someone's asking, why are they protected? Great question. So when we talk about the religion of Hinduism, there's several epics in Hinduism. Some of the oldest written down works of art in the world come from Hinduism. For a while, much like many of you may know, but many of the epics in Hinduism started off as oral traditions, and then they became written epics. So for a long, long time, they were just passed down orally, and then they were starting to be written down. And one of these oldest epics comes out of a tale about a monkey, and so Harman, I believe. You have to either fact check me on that, and I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. But so it has to do within the mythology and some of the ancient epics within the Hindu religion and why monkeys are sacred. And so that is reflected here in Bali as well with protecting the monkeys. All right, great question. Next up we have, let's check that scoreboard. Jolly Dolphin jumps out to the lead. Next question there, explorers. I want to know, what religion are most people in Bali? What religion are most of the people in Bali? Are most people Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, or Balinese Hindu? All right, it is Balinese Hindu. All right, we have a new leader. Fuzzy Owl jumps out to the lead. Next question. What monkey is found in the sacred monkey forest? Which species of monkey is found in the sacred monkey forest? Is it red, the howler monkey, blue, the long-tailed macaque monkey, yellow, the baboon, or green, the spider monkey? All right, so long-tailed macaque monkey. All right, next question. Should you feed monkeys human snacks? Should you feed monkeys human snacks? Red, yes, or blue, no? All right, so no, we shouldn't feed them human food. One is their digestive systems aren't built for it, and really, I would argue that some of our digestive systems aren't built for some of the snack foods that we eat. Also, we really shouldn't get monkeys reliant on humans for food because that can cause some trouble going forward. Obviously, they get food from humans here at the Sacred Monkey Forest, so it's more to do with their health. But a good rule of thumb when you go out into the natural world is you don't want to get wildlife to be dependent on humans. You want them to be able to find their own food. And so if we want to protect wildlife, we need to protect their habitats, which is going to protect their food sources, and instead of relying on humans for their food. All right, and last question. The monkeys at the Sacred Monkey Forest. The monkeys at the Sacred Monkey Forest is... Are they red nocturnal, blue diurnal, or yellow crepuscular? All right, so they are diurnal. Diurnal. Great job there, explorers. And one of my favorite science words, by the way, is crepuscular. So I didn't mention this earlier, but nocturnal is when you're most active at nighttime. Diurnal is when you're most active during the daytime. Crepuscular is when you're most active at dawn and dusk. So a lot of mosquitoes are crepuscular. Our deer are typically crepuscular. They come out and feed at dawn and dusk. Beavers tend to be crepuscular as well. So great word to know there. All right, so today's winner is dun 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 dun. Oh.